Hey, I'm Jennifer Neal, and I am on a journey to go from operator of my business to a full entrepreneur. And I'm gonna share that journey through content that I'm producing here on the Content Toolbox. I ran marketing departments in corporate America for 10 years and then ran a digital agency for over another 10 years. So I know the roadmap to online success, and that formula always includes producing content to share your message, from your marketing message to sales and delivery. Hi, I'm Jennifer Neal, and you're listening to the Content Toolbox. I believe the secret to finding and creating raving fans online is through you. In building relationships through stories that share who you really are, create genuine, crazy, raving fans that keep begging you to take their money. And on this podcast, we'll be talking strategies, tactics, tips, and more with myself and other industry experts. So buckle up and start your engines, because it's go time. So to explain the journey of operator to entrepreneur and why I'm doing it on this podcast, to share my journey with you, to understand all of that, we have to go way back to the beginning, and to explain why it is that I'm standing here in a shop with a car in the background and all of these amazing things. So first of all, I am not one of those entrepreneurs that was never good in school, who had a hard time fitting in. I was the opposite. I was a straight 4.0 student. I graduated magna cum laude or whatever amazing grades from a private liberal arts college. I was always an overachiever. And things that were really artistic, music, singing, playing any kind of instrument, theater, writing, all those things I was really good at. But I was also really good at technical things and figuring out how to write lines of code to build a website. And I just thought that those were things that everybody was really good at.
What a nerd.
Turns out it's not. I'm kind of a weird mix. But what happened is, because I was good at all of these things, it became my downfall. I've been working my entire professional career in small business marketing. I started off in graphic design, and before I knew it, 2 years out of high school, I was running marketing departments for local small businesses. That path just continued. And I worked for agencies, I worked in-house, and for most of my corporate career, I was running marketing departments, and I had plenty of staff underneath me. I knew how to direct people because I had already done all of the things ground up. I could do all of the SEO, I could do all of the website building, I could do the photography, anything that hit me software-wise, I could figure out. So I knew how to help people along because I had been through that journey. And that was something that really served me well. I mean, I was a really great marketing manager. And what I realized after working in the field for 15 or 15, a while, let's say 10 plus years, was I had hit a glass ceiling. Here I was looking at all the years of experience that I had already had at that point. The college degree that I had, that I was still paying off, that didn't actually help me get my job at all, but that's a whole other story. The talent that I had and the results that I was able to show for every company that I worked for. And I realized that my salary had kind of hit a top, the glass ceiling. And meanwhile, my fiance had a 2-year degree and was working for a local semiconductor plant, and his salary just kept going up and going up. And I'm like, wait a minute, I have more experience than you in this field. I have more education than you. What the heck is going on? What is this ceiling? And at the time I was looking, I'm like, okay, do I need more education? Maybe I should go get a master's degree. Maybe I should try to get a different job. And so I went through a period where I was like, how can I interview better? How can I present myself better on paper? Do I need more education? I took online classes. I took all these certifications. I was like, look, I can do this and this and this and this and this. And I remember, the one that I remember the most was actually my very last story. So what happened is I was working for a pet insurance company. And this was during, I started working for them, I think in 2007, and I was the marketing manager. We were doing really great, amazing things. And 2008 hit, as we all know. That was such a wonderful year for the economy.
The worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1980.
And so I had to lay off most of my staff, cut my budget, do all of these things. And in the meantime, I was also going through this, I want to get past this glass ceiling thing, right? So look, I cut all of this money out of my budget, and I can do all of these things, like I can take on these extra responsibilities. So that means that you can give me a raise. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna be real here. At the time that I was doing this is ridiculous, you ready? I was making $35,000 a year. That's it. And I was asking for a raise to 40, not even a huge raise. And I went in and I rewrote my job description and I said, here's all the things we're gonna do, and here's everything I've done for the company, and here's how I was able to save all this money. And you know what it was met with? Hey, because we've had such an amazingly not great year, being 2008, 2009, here we go, we're gonna have a new underwriter, which is the insurance like back-end stuff, right? But the new underwriter is gonna come in, buy the company, and start taking over writing all the policies. They also have all of their own staff, because they're this gigantic, I will go leave them nameless, but you would know the name of the insurance carrier. So as it happens, they're like, oh, hey, thanks for coming up with this amazing job description, which we're gonna use to hire someone else, because that's exactly what I thought was gonna happen. Friggin' amazing, right? So they're like, well, the only two jobs left are, well, you can be demoted to a graphic designer, or you could look at the VP of sales and marketing. Well, at the time I was not prepared to be the VP of sales and marketing. I was too young, didn't have enough experience, and I wrote myself right out of the job, even if I could have done it. And I had spent many years of my life being a graphic designer, and I did not want to step back into that role. In the meantime, what had happened with my research in how do I break through this glass ceiling, there were not a whole lot of options. More education, better job, or become self-employed. So I was like, maybe I'll become self-employed. I had tried out a few MLM things. I'm sure a lot of us have done the MLM journey. And I was like, okay, if I can sell kitchen tools and face products, I probably can go out there and sell services doing all these things that I know how to do. Who else can do photography and videography and create websites and build automation systems and, I mean, anything else, right? I could totally do that. So I went out and started my own agency. And that was how Formula Done was born. And it was amazing. So I went out and matched my salary, my amazing $35,000 salary, right, the first year. And then the second year I doubled, and then I doubled again and doubled again. And I just kept growing, right? It was this awesome thing. And I hired a team, and I trained people, and I was affecting people's lives, and I was helping local businesses. And then I started working outside of the local area, going to meeting people online through conferences I had been to. And I had this amazing reach, and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like, I've done it. Like, I built myself an awesome business. I'm an entrepreneur. And here I go. And so what happened is, in order to continue, when you have a team, you end up with a large overhead, right? And in order to continue that money coming in so that you can cover the overhead, I was constantly in sales mode, and I was constantly looking at, how am I gonna get more clients? How am I gonna get another job? And so I ended up taking on jobs that, if you've ever read The Pumpkin Plan, I read The Pumpkin Plan, and I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I should not be doing, which is doing things outside of the scope of what I'm really good at. But I convinced myself that it was okay because I could. Because it was easy. If somebody came to me and they're like, oh yeah, that's really cool, but I don't really use Infusionsoft, I use ActiveCampaign and HubSpot. Okay, cool, we'll figure out how to work it. And so I would figure it out, and I would train my staff, and we would turn around and do the job for them. So I was constantly learning and expanding my services, and I'm like, this is so awesome. Look at all these things we can do now. We can do all of these things. And so people started asking me for a list of services that we can do, and I'm like, they're like, can you do, analytics tracking code? Yeah, totally can. Can you build in-depth Infusionsoft stuff or a custom membership site? Yeah, I can. Became certified in all of these things because I could and because I was good at it. That's what became my downfall. Our agency has been kind of stalled out now for about the last 4 or 5 years. We just kind of like hit a cap, and I'm like, I just can't scale a service-based agency business. I don't know how to keep building this thing. I don't know how to keep going. Well, the problem is because it was like 50 first dates. Every time I got a new client, I was learning something new, and the process to deliver to them was completely new, and the whole thing is just literally tearing me apart. And I'm hiring coaches and I'm joining groups, and they all tell me the same thing. I mean, I remember a conversation with James P. Friel, and he's like, hey, you really should just niche down. And I'm like, I am. This is, I don't do Salesforce. Sure, look at this niche that I have. I'm totally niched. And he's like, yeah, you just don't get it. Now I get what he was saying is you just don't get it. Like, you have to niche, right? You got to figure it out. When the universe gives me messages, it has to be beat over my head many, many times. So here I am. I'm starting to realize that in order to grow a service-based business, I have to have some sort of a product, but I don't know how to productize what we're doing. So I just kind of felt like I was going through, okay, maybe I'll figure out how to do automation systems for insurance people. Or maybe I will custom build webinar funnels. Or, I mean, I tried so many different things. One of the things that I tried was I had a client who said, I am producing my podcast. I know I'm really good at producing my podcast. That's all I have time to produce. Can't you figure out a way to take that content and repurpose it out to a whole bunch of different things, right? And I'm like, I know I've seen really smart people do this before. There has to be a way to figure it out because I'm good at the things, and because I can, I do, right? So I had seen Peng Joon present at Funnel Hacking Live, his content multiplier formula. And I'm like, that's really cool. How do I modify that to come from just one podcast? And so I tried a couple of things and it totally failed. It was a disaster. And then I said, okay, what's really important is how are the people online who are really killing it on social channels, how are they utilizing content, and how are they posting on different channels and doing different things, right? So I went and studied a bunch of stuff, found the patterns, and went through and set up another system, tried it again. So the first time I had recorded some videos for my team, and I said, hey guys, let's do this. Here's what I want. And I gave them a drawing. And they honestly tried really, really well, but it was an epic fail because we had copy that didn't match graphics and things like that. The second time, we actually had copy and graphics match up the way they should, but there wasn't enough attention paid to the posting side of things. So the posting part got all screwed up. So put the brakes on, try it again, and finally on try number 3, I totally figured it out. And I came out with a system that my team could follow and that I could turn around and train to other people. And that's how the Social Content Machine was born. I turned that into a course, and I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is what's gonna get me scaling my agency. And I went out and I sold it, and the course sold really, really well. It's still selling. But what happened is people will go through it and then they're still like, well, that's really cool, but can't you just do this for me? And I'm like, yeah, I totally can, because I figured it out. Because I can, I did, right? So here I am back in the same agency thing. In the meantime, I'm still taking on other clients, so our deliverables are still all over the place. And it only took about 3 years of doing that for me to finally figure out that just because I can doesn't mean I should. It's so easy. I don't know how, I'm just really slow to learn, I think. But I'm literally teaching that. I'm like, hey, here's a 6-step process. It's really awesome. And you as the business owner, you only need to be doing the first thing because that's the only thing you should be doing. And I'm preaching this to other people, but I'm not doing it myself. And I'm not looking at what I'm doing inside of our agency. Just because we can create completely automated systems and all of this scaling and stuff for other businesses, I spent all of my time working on other people's businesses and not doing anything for mine. And it was super frustrating. And all I knew was I was on this rat wheel, and it was like I was scrambling, trying to get off, and I couldn't because I still had to keep the clients going because they had deadlines and I had to keep their stuff going well. And I had to pay the bills for all of my overhead for all of my super trained staff. And I'm stuck on this rat wheel, right? This is what I felt like. And really, honestly, the culmination was when my assistant came to me last year and she said, hey, did you know it's officially been 10 years that we've been in business as Formula Done? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, something to be in business for 10 years and still be in business doing things, that should be a celebration. But instead, I pretty much literally just wanted to kill myself because I'm like, I've been stalled out. This is all I've done in 10 years. I know I can do so much more. What the heck is the problem? So that was not so long ago that I had the 10-year mark. So I've really been going, how do I work to transition out of full agency mode? How do I really, really create that niche? How do I actually get it, right, James? How do I actually narrow that stuff down and say, this is what we're doing? Just because I can do all of those other things doesn't mean that I should. So how do we narrow this down? Here's the thing. In any person that you're following, I don't care if it's digital marketer, Frank Kern, or Russell Brunson, or Steve Larson, I don't care who you're following. Every single person, every single leader, the way that they are leaders online is because they have a message and they're producing content that gets their message out there in some way, shape, or form. And when people hear it, they choose to buy because it's going to transform their lives, transform their businesses, whatever the thing is. Like, that's the pattern. It's not really magic. It's just actually producing and doing the things, right? The things that I was teaching people how to do in the social content machine and not doing for myself because I was too busy running everybody else's businesses. See this frustration? So I vowed that by year 11, I was not going to be in the same place. And that is how I have actually gotten to this journey and why I'm sharing it with you. Because I'm on a mission to escape my agency. And I know it's going to happen because I finally understand the pieces. And I know that just because I can doesn't mean that I should. And that's the thing I'm going to follow. That's what I'm going to pay attention to. That is how I'm going to transition. Now, how does it come back to operator to entrepreneur? This is going to go back to Funnel Hacking Live, where I just came back from 2020. And Tony Robbins spoke again. I'm so used to Tony being rah, rah, change your state, let's move your energy, like all those things that have transformed me and done amazing things for me. That's what I was expecting again. I was all ready for it. No, instead he goes on and he's talking business tactics. And I'm like, whoa, what happened here? So a really funny thing is my friend that I had brought from kind of a previous life, like Infusionsoft life, I'm bringing her into the ClickFunnels community. So I said, it's your first funnel hacking, let's bring you here. And all these funny things kept happening. She accidentally got upgraded. She accidentally got seated next to some super key players. She's had some really high level conversations with people that she didn't even know who they were. I'm like, you got something special going on here, girl. I don't know what it is, but so here we are, last day of funnel hacking, very last thing. Tony Robbins comes on stage and he's actually working the audience and doing some case study breakthroughs, whatever you want to call it, helping people out in the audience. The third person that he says, who else has a question, is my friend. And she's sitting up several rows. She raises her hand and she asks a question. And in launches Tony with this entire lesson about, you all think you're entrepreneurs? But really very few of you even are. And I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm totally an entrepreneur. Well, turns out, Tony said it. Of course, it's probably going to be right? He explained there's actually 3 different levels of business ownership. And on the first level is the artist, the creative, the operator. And if you are working in your business and you're doing so many of those things, that's the level that you're at. And that's okay because everybody starts there. And I became so frustrated. And in that moment, I had I'm an operator. am literally running my business as an operator. Not even, the second step is leader. At some points I had gone up to leader and then I dropped back down to operator because it's just how I ran into my agency business, right? And I realized I really am right now. I'm an operator. I'm not an entrepreneur. So the levels are operator, leader, entrepreneur. At the entrepreneur level, all you're doing is vision, and you're creating ideas, and then you're letting everybody else do it, and you're giving back. That's where I want to be. I know that's where you want to be. That's the whole point of what we're doing. Is just, in the meantime, we're stuck in this operator role. At least I am. And so I really wanted to document this journey and talk about how I am escaping my agency, how I am getting out of the role of operator, and I'm aiming for entrepreneur. And I know it's going to be a crazy, amazing journey. Once I realized that for 10 years, yeah, I owned my own business, but really all I had done was created a job for myself. I wasn't really an entrepreneur. I wasn't creating this force of movement, this force of change, this thing that's going to be able to grow exponentially and give back and do all of the things that I know I'm meant to do. Instead, I just created a job as an operator. And I'm tired of it after 10 years, and I'm determined to make things change. And it's amazing what happens once you have that clarity and once you have the confidence. It's only been 3 or 4 weeks since I've been back from Funnel Hacking Live, and amazing things are already happening. So that is the journey that I'm going to be sharing through this podcast. If you join me, we're going to be talking about content and all the tools that you need in your toolbox, which, by the way, the reason I'm in my shop with the toolbox in the background is because I'm a lover of cars. So is my husband. We actually met drag racing. Our favorite sport, in fact, the only one we actually watch, is Formula One racing. And you can probably find a correlation between the business name Formula Done, Formula One racing. Anyway, because I'm talking about all of the tools and the things that we need to get our message out there, to get that content out online, to share your message and find your people and have them engage. A lot of the things that I've done in the past have been really tactical. It's all about the tools, and people want to know the how you go through doing things. And while the how is super important, it's not nearly important as the why. So I really wanted to just have one reference place where everybody can come and see, okay, if I'm going to start my online content journey, what's the toolbox? What are all the tools that I need to make that happen? That's what this podcast is all about. So I hope that you join me as we continue through. We talk about tools and techniques and mindset shifts and ways that we can produce content so that we're all out there working towards that bigger vision and creating the content that is attracting our people and growing our business. Okay, let's try that again. I have been working my entire professional career, whoa, nose itch, is because, no, Jesus, Jen, that's okay.